John. How's it going today?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, so before we jump into Ken Niumatalolo and the triple option, whatever, do you want to officially pull your name out of the running for BYU's head coach?
You know, I'm going to have to. I just signed up my two oldest boys for spring flag football last night, and I marked the box that says head coach. So I'm taking.
Wait, so you are going to be a head coach?
I am coaching. Just it's with those guys. So, yep. And maybe if BYU would have come before I signed them up, maybe so. But
it's all about timing, right, John?
Yep.
So would you ever in the future be interested in coaching? Is that something you see yourself doing down the road?
I mean, I love coaching. I just the team stuff is what's a little different for me. I always believed I was gonna get into coaching. When I was done playing, that's the direction I wanted to go. But in all honesty, just with the experiences that I had in the NFL, it just kind of turned me off a little bit to coaching, being part of a team, and kind of the lifestyle that goes along with it. I would love to coach if all that it meant was being a football coach and you got to be at that school or be with that program. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And, people ask me all the time, well, what are those things that kind of have made you want to go a different direction? And I tell them, maybe had I experienced more success in the NFL and been a part of more of the successful things that can take place on teams, my attitude might be different. But my experience kind of showed me more the other side of the coin, the flip side of it, and the things that take place in your life when things don't go well. And you have to make a decision. Are you willing to sacrifice some things that are important in your life on that chance? Because it is a risk. And, to me, I have so much more that is a part of my life, and I just don't really want to risk it. You really make football life, and you have to decide, is that worth that risk? If things don't work out, if things do work out, is that the life I want to have? And I do want to coach, and I'm going to continue coaching quarterbacks, but it's not going to be in the way that I always thought I would with a part of a team.
John Beck is on BYU Sports Nation. It seems like it's down to the 3 Ks now. Kalani, Ken, and Kyle. A lot being talked about with Ken Niumatalolo after the report from the Capital Gazette. Who's the strongest head coach and or who do you want as the next guy, John?
Well, it's tough to say because I think that when you talk about all 3 of those names, I see a lot of positives with all 3 of them. I think they all bring different things to the table. I think the biggest part is just going to be find the guy that we feel fits BYU and is going to maintain a lot of the things that Bronco has set up, a lot of things that he's worked hard to make a part of the program, but then also somebody that's going to bring that edge that makes them unique. And, okay, this is person, what can he do to help the program improve? Because that's what we're looking for, right? As Bronco steps away, we want to say exactly what Bronco said in his exit interview. He said it's time for somebody else to step in and do what they can do to help this place continue to improve. So I think we look for somebody that fits the BYU mold and that can help the place improve.
If you believe that Ken Niumatalolo is the favorite right now, and it certainly feels that as of today he is, one of the reasons being used for that is that he has head coaching experience, whereas Kalani Sitake does not. He's the coordinator, trying to get that first head coaching job. How much do you look at the experience? How important is that, and should that be in this hire?
It makes a difference, a huge difference. I think back to when I was a player in 04 to 05, the transition from Gary Crow to Bronco. When Bronco became our coach, he'd never been a head coach before. When Robert and I became our coordinator, he had never been a coordinator before, never called plays. When Brandon Doman came in to be our coach, he'd never been a quarterback coach before. And it takes time to learn your role. It takes time to gain experience in that role so that you can do a better job of it. And bringing somebody in that has head coaching experience, you're bringing somebody in that has gained all those years of experience, all those years of decision-making, all those years of managing a program, and that can't be manufactured. That can't be just all of a sudden picked up by a person that has only been a coordinator. So it takes time, and I think that's why when you look at Kyle and Ken, the thing that they have that Kalani doesn't is years of head coaching experience, years of running a program. What they have to adjust to now at BYU is the things that they've never dealt with before, honor code, missions. But the fact that they've been a head coach, it does make a difference. Because the guy that hasn't been a head coach, he has to go through a learning curve.
John Beck is on BYU Sports Nation. If Ken Niumatalolo comes in and is the head coach, or is a serious candidate, as he is, the question is the triple option a thing? Would BYU ever run the triple option? To me, it's a capital YES, or capital NO, that BYU would not. What's your opinion on the triple option?
Jeremy, you really screwed me over with that one, dude. When you said YES,
I know. I was like, what am I saying?
I'm like, honor code violation. Jeremy's been smoking something.
Well, we found the one person who apparently was okay with it, and it was Jerem Jordan.
Yeah, no, it's not me. I'm no. Are you no as well?
Oh, of course. I just think it's the reason that they're talking to Ken is because of who he is as a person, the abilities that he has to run a program, and the fact that he is an LDS guy that we know is going to keep the standards, right? That he's going to set the program up to be aligned with what BYU stands for. And he's had success implementing values at the military academy. If you watched Meet the Mormons, you saw that he's a family guy first. You saw that he tells his assistant coaches, hey, we are not going to work during this day. Like, we're not going to come in and work on Sundays. If you want to come in, you can do it, but that's a day for my family. And that fits right along with what BYU does. So I think that the fact that they're talking to Ken, it's all based on who he is and what he's going to bring to the table managing BYU as the head coach. I think if he does get the head coaching job, the hard part is going to be now he has to make a staff out of people that he cannot bring along with him. And this kind of goes back to when I was a junior at BYU. When Bronco became the head coach, he wasn't bringing a staff of offensive people with him, and neither was Robert and I. He didn't bring people in that had been running the Air Raid Texas Tech offense. Everybody on our offensive staff was learning the offense as I was learning the offense. So the first half of that season, we went through growing pains as a team because it wasn't like we had a staff that was all coming along with thousands of reps and a bunch of games of running this offense. So that could be an issue when you bring Ken in. Does he have to put a staff together on offense that is going to run something that he has not done for the last handful of years? So that's why I say if they're looking at him, it's all based on the fact that as a head coach, the way he can run the program.
You know, John, and this is the interesting part, and Jeremy and I were discussing this in the previous segment. Put yourself in Ken Niumatalolo's shoes. You have made a name for yourself. All of your success is because of the triple option. I mean, that's the kind of coach you are. Why would you give that up to come to BYU? I mean, that's all you have ever done. That's all you know, and that's made a pretty good living for yourself. Why would you give it up?
Yeah, you know what, and that's a great point. I've seen it throughout my entire career. When somebody has something that they've had success with, they want to stay with that. It's the same reason why coaches bring coaches with them when they go places. Why is Bronco Mendenhall bringing the offensive staff with him and some defensive guys? Because he's had success with them. And he believes these are the pieces that are going to help me have success somewhere else. In the NFL, you see it all the time where a certain offense, a coach takes his offense to the new team. Even though that new team may have different pieces and different athletes, why does he say, well, now you guys have to learn my offense? Instead of having those players say, okay, what can I do to have these players play well? Maybe I can adapt my offense. No, they stick with their offense or defense because that's what's given them success. And that's why I say it would be very hard. I think of the three candidates, although Ken is probably the first one BYU's talking to, and a lot of people have him on the top of the board, he is probably weighing the biggest decision of what do I do, because if I leave the Naval Academy where I have established success, where I could stay here for a long time, if I leave, what am I going to? Am I also having to abandon the offense that helps me have a lot of success? That's a huge decision on his part, and he may be just checking BYU out to see what kind of options are you giving me? Are you going to allow me to run my offense? So that could be a deal breaker, and that's why, to me, although Ken may be the first guy we're talking to, guys like Kalani and Kyle might have an easier transition coming to BYU and sticking with an offense that they've had a part of their winning tradition for a long time.
At Darren Self just tweeted new #BYUSN hashtag yes no. That's an emphatic what? No. So the coaching search has taken over. What's trending with BYU Sports Nation the last full week. Today marks a week since Bronco announced that he was going to Virginia. Is it weird we're not talking about playing Utah in the Vegas Bowl very much because of this coaching search?
Definitely. I mean, I think this has taken over. Hopefully, this is not what's happening on the team. I read some quotes yesterday by some of the players. It sounds like they're staying very focused, which is a good thing. And I'm sure that Bronco is doing all that he can to make sure his players stay focused. But I can tell as a fan base, I mean, when Utah was the team that we were going to play in the Vegas Bowl, that Sunday during church, all of a sudden my phone's blowing up with all types of text messages, questions, da-da-da. Since Bronco has been announced as leaving and we're trying to find a head coach, no longer am I receiving any text messages about the Vegas Bowl or Utah. Everything that I'm hearing is based off of, well, who's the coach going to be? What's your opinion? Are you going to come back and coach? So I can tell right now Cougar Nation is caught up in what direction is our program going to go? Because it's going to mean a lot, especially with the schedule that we have next year, with the upcoming young players that we have. I'm sure there's a big part of BYU that feels like, hey, we have this future at quarterback looks so bright. We have this kid that's showing a lot of promise, a lot of talent. Can the coaching staff that we bring in affect Tanner's growth and development? Which it absolutely can. You know, is the new coach going to come in and run an offense that Tanner's familiar with? You know, one of the best things that's happened for us is we got a quarterback that has a lot of experience running a specific offense through high school, through all of his Elite 11 days, and a lot of that has transferred into what Robert has done. Well, what's this next coach going to do? Is he going to bring in an offense that's completely different? That can happen. Is the verbiage going to be completely different? Because if so, that takes time. So here we have this quarterback that we say, this guy's kind of the face of the franchise right now, or the program. We want his development to continue upward. Who you bring in as a head coach and who he brings in as an offensive staff is going to have an impact on that development.
John, great stuff as always. We appreciate the time, and thank you for clearing up your name out of the official head coaching search for BYU.
We'll pass that along to Tom.
Okay, yeah, let Tom know.
Thanks, John.